In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the rear CV shafts on this Nissan Rogue. These are going to be located behind the rear wheels. Let's get into it. Remove the wheel, use a 21mm socket. Remove the wheel. We're going to remove the axle nut. There is a cotter pin here. I'm just going to use some side cutters. Take this cotter pin out. Pull that out. Using a 30mm socket, take the axle nut off. I'm just going to take a punch and a hammer. Try to loosen up the axle from the hub. Just hammer it in a little. There you go. That's what you want. Just have that loose. Using a pull jack, I'm going to support underneath the lower control arm. Take a little bit of the tension off the shock. Just raise it up a little bit. Take the shock bolt out. Use an 18mm wrench on the bolt. 18mm socket for the nut. Take that off. Slide the bolt out. Separate that. We're going to remove this plastic shield. Just use a straight blade screwdriver where these little straps are. There's clips on the back. I'm going to push those in. Try to pull the strap out, just like that. Do that on both sides. Just release the clip, pull those up. And then there's clips underneath here. Just push those in. You can separate that. There's one more right here. Just two little tabs. You just push those in. And that comes out. See in there, those are the two tabs that you're pushing in. And this panel comes right off. Use a 18mm socket and an 18mm wrench. Put the wrench on the nut. Pull this bolt out. Slide that bolt out. That's for the sway bar link. I'm using a 21mm wrench. 21mm socket. Take this lower control arm bolt out. Pull that bolt out. Now with the pull jack, I'm just going to lower it down. Good. I'm just going to use a pry bar, pry the control arm down. Now using a 21mm wrench and 21mm socket, take this bolt out and nut. Just don't, make sure you don't ruin the brake line or brake hose. Just using the wrench to help pull this out. Now we're going to loosen up the nut and bolt on the other side of this arm. Use a 21mm wrench and a 21mm socket. Loosen that nut and bolt. Alright, that arm is loose, that's good. Now we're going to loosen this lower nut and bolt, but there is a cam, there's an alignment adjustment right here. So just to make sure you get it as close as possible when you put it back together, I'm just going to take a marker and just mark it right there, just so I know. Then it'll be closer when you go back together. And with a 21mm wrench, 21mm socket, loosen this up. There we go, that's loose. Pull that down, that's loose. Just lower this down. And you should be able to take the spring out. Go a little bit further. Now I'm just going to use a pry bar, just get under the spring, coil spring. Pop this out. Pull that out of the way. You want to disconnect the ABS wire or wheel speed sensor wire so that you don't break it. Just use a trim tool. Pop off the retainer right there. You can disconnect the connector. Little tab right here. Push that down. Disconnect that. There's another retainer up here. Just use a trim tool. Pop that out. And then the grommets that are held in by the brackets, pop that out of the grommets. Right there, right here, and right there. Just move that out of the way. And then just push the knuckle out. Just make sure the axle's loose, just like that. Now near the differential, we're going to use a pry bar, pry the axle out. Make sure you have a drain bucket underneath because you might lose a little bit of fluid. Just pop that out. Just slide that out. I'm going to slide it up above the differential. And just pull this out. And there's the axle. Slip this into the differential. Get that lined up. Try to push it. You might have to twist it a little bit. If it's still giving you trouble, just give it a little tap with a rubber mallet. Let's get around the link. It's back in the knuckle. Slip that in place. Just get the nut started. Now I'm going to lower this down. Take the spring. Get that lined up at the base. Pull this down a little bit. Line it up top. That looks good. You can raise this up a little bit with the pull jack. We'll loosen up the sway bar link just to make it easier to install. Use a 18mm socket and 18mm wrench. Loosen this up. Get the lower control arm, raise that up, get the sway bar close to where it needs to go. Just pry this pry it over. I'm just going to put a bolt where the shock mount is and just use a pry bar. Just try to work this back and forth a little bit. And just get it close so that we can get a bolt in the lower control arm. Just pry that down. Get that bolt lined up. Just going to lower this down a little bit. Just move it to the control arm. Just raise this up a little. There we go. Got that one in. You can raise it up a little bit more, get the shock lined up. Put the shock bolt in. I'm going to lower the pull jack for now. Get the nut on. And the nut for the lower control arm, get that started. You can snug these down, but we're not going to torque them yet. Tighten that up later. Now we'll get the bolt in for the upper control arm. Just use a pry bar, just pry this in the right spot. Might need a couple pry bars to get this lined up. Pull this out and get a screwdriver in here at the same time. There we go. You can get that lined up. And get the bolt started. Just be careful of the brake hose. Just try to tap it in place. Put the nut on, snug this down. Now we'll get that close. And we're going to raise up the suspension, get it as close to ride height, and then we're going to tighten all the bolts down and torque them. And take the bolt for the sway bar link. And pull the sway bar down a little bit just to get it to line up. And put the nut on. Use the pull jack. Raise the suspension as close to ride height as possible. And we'll torque all those bolts. Out of the way. All right, that looks good. Snug these down. And we'll torque this to 82 foot-pounds. Do the same on this. Now we're going to torque the lower shock bolt to 76 foot-pounds. Now this lower control arm, we're going to torque this to 111 foot-pounds. That's good. This bolt that has the offset washer for the alignment adjustment, I'm just going to spin this, get that lined up with our marks. That looks pretty good right there. I'll tighten that down. And torque this to 111 foot-pounds. Mark's still lined up. Yep. That's good. Now we're going to tighten the inboard upper control arm bolt. 111 foot-pounds. Torque it to. And torque the outer one to 111 foot-pounds. Lower the pole jack. And take that out of the way. Take this cover, just get this lined up, push it in place, push the wire tie in place and just tighten that up a little bit. Pull that as tight as you can. That's good. Slide the grommets into the brackets. There's a bracket right here. Just slip that in. Right there. Another bracket up here, and connect the connector. Oops, it's going to go this way. There's another retainer that goes up a little higher. Push that in place. And you can slide the connector onto the retainer. Now tighten the spindle nut. And I'm just going to use a pry bar to prevent the hub from spinning. And we're going to torque the nut to 92 foot-pounds. There you go. Now take a new cotter pin, slide it through. Use some side cutters and just fold it over. This one's a little bit thicker. I'm just going to use a pry bar and just give it a tap with a hammer. You can use a punch if you want to. That's good right there, just so it's not going to get in the way of the wheel. I'll put the wheel back on. Get that lined up. Put the lug nuts on. Snug that on. Now we're going to torque the lug nuts to 83 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Go around again, double check.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.